Welcome to the Frameworks and Fundamentals Required Summer Reading Introduction to the Keyword Outline, or KWO. My name is Jonna Nair, and I'm the Academic Team Leader for the Frameworks and Fundamentals programs. This presentation will cover the keyword outline as it is used in the IEW program. If you have any questions after this presentation, you can email me at jonna@circlechristianschool.org. We'll start by reiterating why we've chosen to use IEW to teach writing in our programs. I go into more detail on this in the Intro to IEW presentation, so if you haven't watched it yet, you'll want to do so. But first, IEW is logical and structured. It starts from the beginning of the writing process, which is coming up with ideas, and it works towards the goal of independent writing. It also builds on a student's current abilities at her own pace. And of course, it teaches both style and structure. In my opinion, IEW is one of the best programs for teaching students to think. It's not just a writing program, it's also a thinking program. IEW starts with the keyword outline and builds from there with 9 structural models. The structural models are divided into 2 types, essay writing and creative writing. Now in Frameworks and Fundamentals, we follow a philosophy called writing across the curriculum, which means that writing assignments aren't only pulled from the literature, but also from science, history, and the Bible. That allows us to incorporate both types of structural models. So let's look at the 9 models. The first 2 models are the foundations of all writing in IEW. They are note-making using the keyword outline and summarizing from notes, which is basically writing a paragraph from the notes you've taken. Next, let's look at Unit 3. This is on the right-hand side if you look at your screen, and you'll see that the structural models on the right are part of the creative writing. This creative writing unit is called Summarizing Narrative Stories. Basically, this is students modeling or imitating good writing. Unit 4 on the left is an essay model called Summarizing a Reference. This is writing a report using one source and focusing on one main idea. Unit 5 is writing from pictures, which is a fun way to draw creativity out of students' brains. Unit 6 is writing reports from multiple sources, the standard research report, but without an intro and conclusion. Unit 7 is creative writing, which is using the information already in a student's brain. This is for those essays you'll find on the SAT or college applications. Unit 8 is the formal essay, which is the basic 5 to 8 paragraph essay with an introduction and conclusion. The kinds of writing students will be doing regularly in middle and high school. Unit 9 is the literary critique, which is IEW's version of the book report, but which requires some serious thought about literary structure. Typically, framework students can expect to work through Unit 7. 6th graders may even venture into Unit 8, and all fundamental students will work through all 9 units. Now, let's focus on the keyword outline. The KWO is basically a form of note-taking using an outline. Students use it as a jumping-off point for paragraphs, stories, and essays of all kinds. The beauty of the KWO is that it forces students to think about what they are reading and writing, because they have to read each sentence and think about the keywords that they are going to write down. The goals of the KWO are for students to develop the ability to choose the words that will help them remember a complete idea. Students will learn to communicate the main ideas from something they already know using their own KWO. Students should be able to read a selection, create a KWO independently, and verbally retell the basic ideas from that selection to another person using only the outline. So here's how it works. We give the student a reading selection at or below their current reading level, and we model for them how to create a keyword outline. I'm going to model for you how it works now. So let me read this selection to you. It's called The Statue of Liberty. This particular piece of writing is hardly a literary gem, but it's perfect for demonstrating how to write a KWO. The Statue of Liberty is a huge monument. It is located on Liberty Island, New York. It is made of copper and extends hundreds of feet in the air. The Statue of Liberty was given to the U.S. by France in 1884. It is a symbol of friendship. Over 2 million people per year come to visit the Statue of Liberty. This large monument to freedom is world famous. Pretty basic and pretty boring. We could do a lot to make this paragraph more interesting, but for now, all we need to do is create a KWO. Let's go line by line and demonstrate how to select the keywords. First, a KWO always starts with a title underlined. Next, a KWO begins with a Roman numeral 1. And this may bother you at first if you've used to other forms of outlining, but your students will be fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the 2 to 3 most important words, and we're going to limit ourselves to 2 or 3 words. And those words will be the words to express the meaning of each sentence. So let's look at the first sentence. The Statue of Liberty is a huge monument. The key words we would choose would be huge monument. And remember, we're going to use a Roman numeral 1. We don't need to list Statue of Liberty because we already have it in the title, and we know we're talking about the Statue of Liberty. Now let's look at the next sentence. It is located on Liberty Island, New York. We'll use the words Liberty Island, New York. Notice that this line is labeled with the Arabic numeral 1. And also note that we are using as few words as possible to avoid copying the paragraph word for word. For sentence 3, it is built of copper and extends hundreds of feet in the air. We would select the words copper and hundreds high. Now let's look at the next sentence. The Statue of Liberty was given to the U.S. by France in 1884. We'll use given, France, 1884. Now we know that the Statue of Liberty was given by France, not to France. So we don't need to write that. In a KWO, we typically focus on nouns and occasionally verbs. Prepositions like to or from can usually be represented by symbols such as arrows. Now, let's move on to the next sentence. It is a symbol of friendship. This one's easy. We'll use symbol of friendship. You could also say sign of friendship or represents friendship, but we're just going to keep it simple here and use symbol of friendship. Next, over 2 million people per year come to visit the Statue of Liberty. This time we'll use 2 million year. We could also add people, but it's probably not necessary. You could probably guess that we're talking about people and not pigeons, although that might be true also. Finally, this large monument to freedom is world famous. We'll use freedom, world famous. Now look over this KWO. Would you have chosen different words? Probably, and that's okay. The most important thing is that when you read it over, it makes sense and conveys the meaning of the original paragraph without copying the original. So let's try reading through our outline. Students should always read through the outline first before writing anything. Hearing the paragraph out loud helps students literally hear what they are saying, and it makes it easier for them to catch mistakes. So here we go. The Statue of Liberty is a huge monument on Liberty Island. It is made from copper and is hundreds of feet high. France gave the Statue of Liberty to the U.S. in 1884, and it is a symbol of friendship. 2 million people come to visit it every year. It is a world-famous symbol of freedom. Not very inspiring, but note that I made a few changes even as I read. I combined a few lines and rearranged the orders of words to make the paragraph less boring. Now, as a student, I would begin thinking of dress-ups to add, according to the checklist for the assignment, and only after I had noted some dress-ups on the outline and talked it through again would I begin writing. If you aren't familiar with dress-ups, don't worry. We'll talk about those in another video for the required summer reading. But for now, I hope you have a little bit of an idea about how the KWO works in IEW. This paragraph is extremely easy and boring, but it's an example of something we might start young students with. The reading sources and writing assignments get more interesting and harder as students' writing and reading abilities improve. I hope this presentation gave you a taste of how the keyword outline works, and I hope you can see how this simple outlining system can be applied to almost any type of reading selection. In the weeks to come, we'll be looking at developing the KWO into more sophisticated paragraphs that demonstrate both structure and style. If you have any questions, you can email me at jonna@circlechristianschool.org. And if you haven't already, please view the first presentation of the summer required reading video series called A Brief Introduction to IEW.